Welcome. This is the last video for Project 4. I'm going to eventually make a supplemental video just to go over some of the CSS features that were introduced in the book, make some modifications of it, some of the things that you can do that I feel would be very helpful for you. So I'm going to open up on page 205, the About, and you'll see an image here at the very top. So what we're going to do is click it. I'm not going to need to drag the figure button on. All I have to do is click it. I have this selected. I'm on the Insert panel, and I click on Figure. And notice as soon as I click on Figure, it gives me the options on what to do. So it tells us in the book on number 4 to click it before. And you'll see that we have, this is the content for the layout figure tag, and this is the caption. Don't confuse the content with the caption. They're two separate lines. If you go into code view, you'll see you have figure. It inserted a figure, and it inserted a figure caption. So we'll go back into live view here. I'm now on page 206. So we're going to open up, we're selecting the image again, and we're going to click on the DOM, which is right here, the document object model. And notice that I'm going to open up the figure. We have figure, Figcaption, and image. And this is where the DOM is so helpful about moving things around. Because let's go back into code view and see what's happened. You can see that the figure and the Figcaption is not inside where the image is. The image really should be inside of this. So we'll go back over here. We'll go back to DOM. And we have the image. So what it's going to tell us to do is we're going to drag the image onto the figure element right here. And we want to make sure there's no green. Remember, the green puts it underneath it or above it, depending on whether it's above or below. So we're going to take it. See the green here? That would put it underneath the figure. What we're going to do is put it right on top of the figure. There's no more green. Click on it, and boom. So now you see that it's got the figure, the image, and the fig caption. So let's go back into code view, and you can see figure, image, Figcaption. If you wanted the caption above it, you could also move it there. So now we have the options. You can see the Figcaption is down at the bottom. Okay, in number 8, we're going to select the paragraph immediately below the image, which is this. Now, one thing that I have to understand, if you go back into code view again, you'll see that there's more to it than it meets the eye. So you have this over here in bold, then you have a new line, and then you have another line, a new line, and then finally the end of the paragraph. So when you click on the P, all of this is part of that paragraph. So it tells us to click and select the paragraph below. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to use this to select it. And then in the DOM, we're going to move it onto the Figcaption element. So let's go into the DOM. And this is the P here. So you can see it's got a strong and all the tags. We're going to put it right on top of the Figcaption. Boom. And you notice it's all moved here. Let's go back into code view. And you can see that the Figcaption, and then we have everything that was there before. That's working good there. Number 10, we just looked in code view. And then we're going to use the code pane, and we're going to delete all the stuff that we don't need. So let's get rid of, this is the caption for the layout tag. Now you see it, and now you don't. And let's see where the other, this is the content. And now you see it, now you don't. Let's go back there, and it's gone. So now you see the figure or the image, and then you see the Figcaption, which is all part of it. If we click here, the Figcaption is all of this. That was number 11 on page 207. Now we're on 208. We're going to now mess up the figure, but then we're going to fix it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on the figure, and we're going to create a new tag. Remember, if you click on it and you go into the design panel, make sure that museum is selected. Click on selectors. Notice that it automatically did main copy figure image. We really only want figure. So we just type in figure and hit it, the enter key twice to make sure. So then we're going to change the width, the margins, and we're going to float it. So the width they want to be 300 pixels. Margin top, margin bottom will be 0. Now, once you click in it, and you don't have to type 0, you can just hit the enter key. The margin right is going to be 0. So I'm just going to click and hit the enter key. Margin bottom is 10, and margin left is 10. I'm going to go into the museum styles just to show you the shortcut. So let's find figure. Notice that it's 0, 0, 10, and 10. And the way it works is just like a clock. Top, right, bottom, and left. So just think of it as 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. That takes care of it. And we need to float right. So we'll go over here. Here's our float. And wow, that messed everything up. So we're going to fix that. But remember, float right allows figures and other elements to float to the right of things, making the appearance of two separate columns. So now what we need to do is we're going to format the Figcaption. So I'm going to create a new selector, Figcaption, which is here. And font style italic, font size. So we'll go to the text. Font style is italic. The font size is 12 pixels. The line height is 15. And the text align is right. So I'm not really too thrilled of this, but we're going to fix that later. So again, you can change things around to make things a little bit nicer. Everybody has different tastes, what one person loves, another person hates. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a descendant selector. What that means is instead of changing just a tag, which is going to affect all the tags, we're going to change something that affects only a specific tag. So if you take a look at number 3 on page 209, it wants us to create a selector called main copy figure image. What that means is starting from the right, I want to change an image that's within a figure tag that's within the main copy ID. So nothing else will get changed. So we'll go into and it actually created it for us because it was selected, or you could type it. So we'll hit the enter key, and we're going to change the width to 300 pixels. And notice that it's now smaller. Pretty nice. And then the height is going to be auto. And there is now proportioned. Nice. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but remember, you want everything to be proportioned with the height and the width. So that takes care of 209. Then on number 4 on page 210, we're going to change the sidebar P. Now, we made a rule over here that was going to work on all of the P tags. So I'll click on set here, and you can see what it's done. Now we're going to create a rule that affects only paragraph tags that are within the sidebar ID. So let's see if we can have it clicked on us, make it easier. So let's click this here. We'll click on New Selector, and the up arrow one time gets rid of the page content, and that will take care of that. So now we can make some changes, and we want the text-align center. So we'll go and click on text-align center, and notice it affects only P tags in here. This is a P tag, not centered. This is a P tag, not centered. Only P tags that are within the sidebar. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a sidebar H2, which would be this. So again, I'm just going to click on the sidebar H2 here, create my new selector. It adds more than we really need, and it's okay to leave the page content. This would mean I want to affect an H2 tag that's contained within a sidebar ID that's contained within something that is an ID of page content. I'll just make it sidebar H2 to go along with the book. And then we're going to change the padding, the text align. So we'll start with the padding. And the padding bottom is going to be 10. Now notice that this is what it's going to affect. So let's put 10. And you can see a little bit of space goes on the bottom. Text align is going to be center, which I think looks nice. Then we're going to put a bottom border on. Now be very careful. If you're going to do a border and you only want to do a bottom border, the default is all borders. So we want to do a bottom, so just click on this. And they want us thin, style solid, and we'll pick a color from the graphic. Hit the enter key, and boom. So let me go click over here so you can see a little better. So you can see we now have a bottom border over there. Remember, bottom border fills up the whole screen unless you make it a certain size. So now we have another descendant nav P. So basically what we're going to do is we have P tags that are going to be affected only over here. So let's click on we're going to design, and we can't click. Now the reason why we can't click because it's part of a template. So now all we have to do is just type it. So we'll go to selector, and we're going to type in nav, and it'll find nav right away, and then space, and then P. Now we want margin type of 20. We want font size 20. And text align right. That takes care of that. We're going to save everything. And then the last thing wants us to export the site. So we go to site, manage sites, and we have the museum. You should have separate ones in here for each project, just click on export and put it inside your site definition, which is here. Click on save, and we're done. So let me show you one other thing that I really don't like is this here. So what I'm going to do is just change the footer. I'm going to create a rule for the footer. And I thought we had one there. We have one there. We can create a separate one if we want to. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background color to brown, same color as this here. And let's see what that does. Now that looks a little bit nicer. Now somehow we have the text in there twice. So let's get rid of the text in there. Now we cannot do it in the actual file itself. So I have to go to the template. So I'm going to open up the museum template. And let's see why we have two in there. I don't know why we have two. So let me go into the source code and code. And to be honest with you, I don't know why there's two. So I will address that later on. Actually, there's one. Okay. So that was easy to fix because I didn't do anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the text a little bit bigger, bolder, and I'm going to put some padding on the top and the bottom over here to make it easier to read. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see what this tag is in here. Or I can put some padding on the top here. So let's go to the footer and let's put some padding on the top of 10. And see how it created some space over there. And then let's put some padding on the bottom of 10. That looks a little bit nicer. So let's change the text to bold. And let's make it a little bit bigger. So let's make it large. And I think that looks a little bit nicer. There's ways to actually put some spacing in here. So this is kind of pushed together. These are all things that you can do. It's kind of cosmetic. So let's just put a little bit of spacing between the letters. If you've done Microsoft Word, that's expanding. So now you can see, well, that might be a little bit too much. So let's change that to 1. And I think that looks a little bit nicer. I don't like this background image here. So make sure when you do your settings on your project, do not have that. Well, that's it. Look forward to seeing you again. Have a wonderful night.